Hey, happy Monday afternoon, everybody. Just a couple thoughts for you as I'm out getting my steps in for today. First thought is I think people radically underestimate what happens in the long term and radically overestimate what happens in the short term. Here's my theory to that, and case in point. I probably picked up working out again late 2009. Those are church bells you hear in the background, which is actually pretty cool. I picked up working out again. I think it was 2008, 9 maybe. Picked up CrossFit in 2010 after probably nearly a 10 or 12 year hiatus. When Kelsey and Kyle were growing up, I just didn't have the time. It wasn't my high priority. They were. Susan was. And as I get older, we just started getting some time back, and I wanted to jump back into working out. So I've been consistently moving. That's a bug, sorry. Consistently moving now for nearly a decade. What's interesting about that is what that effort, how it compounds across time. Just look this up before I come out walking today. This year, I rode 100 miles on Saturday. This year, I've only had been on my bike, my road bike, 6 times, including Saturday to ride. I've been on the spin trainer 6 times at home before that. So this year, I had been on the spin trainer or my bike only 12 times before I went out and rode the 100 miles on Saturday. And really, when I was training for it, I really just was concentrating on getting the amount of time in the saddle because I knew that was going to be the hardest part. I really thought that I had the endurance and the longevity to go out and ride. People would be stunned if they heard that I'd only been in the saddle on the spin bike or the road bike 12 times to go out and pull that off this weekend. But I think once your body gets used to moving, that's one thing I do love about CrossFit now that I've been back for almost 2 months, is just that range of motion. The variety of forms of exercise, deadlifts, lunges, squats, push presses, clean and jerks, deadlifts, squats, front rack squats, box jump, that whole range of motion across time compounds until you be able to do a whole lot more than I think you can do. But it's the consistency of day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year that gives you that base to go out and do what would normally appear to be the impossible. I'll give you another case in point. Susan ran the 5K, Hemingway 5K on Saturday night as well. She finished first in her age group. And I looked at her at the end of the race and I go, when was the last time you did any run training or when you raced? And she says, I think it was a couple months ago. Got to thinking back on it. The last time that she had run at a race or in training was her 50K. Puts her running shoes on Saturday night, goes out and just runs by feel, just feels good, and finishes first out of 41 women in her age group. I think it's just a compounding effort. She's been doing CrossFit since 2013-14 consistently, radically consistently. I think that's right. It's just a compounding effort. So I encourage you to just start on your path, and you will be stunned at what happens a year from now. I'm currently out walking today because a couple of months ago, when I got set back and what I thought was overtraining, I just changed my goal from running a lot to just being active and moving. So I think my streak right now is about 65 days of getting my step count in, and I've gradually increased that across time. I've made that decision once. So when I woke up this morning, I didn't think about, was I going to go out and walk 13,200 steps today? It wasn't a question of if, it was how was I going to. I made that decision once, and I'm just working through it every day. Some days it's really uncomfortable. I've walked a lot of steps at night. I've walked in our bedroom before I crawled in bed to make sure I got my steps in. But it's the consistency across time is what's going to give you incredible capability in the long term. Number 2, and I'll make this real short, goals. What was interesting is I ran my first marathon in 2013. I look back, and I did just right before I come out here to make sure this was correct. Where that goal came from was when Susan and I did premarital counseling. One of the things on our premarital counseling was to write down physical goals that we had. One of the things that I wrote down in 1988 was to run a marathon. And I thought that was funny. It said run a marathon. But that was almost 20, that goal was nearly 25 years in the making. Saturday when I rode 100 miles, I was talking with one of the guys that I was riding with. I didn't have a formalized goal to do that, but I think that goal got planted in my brain probably when I was 12 or 13 years. That goal was 42, 43 years in the making. So if you got goals, dust them off, go out, make it happen, and be consistent. Love you guys.